guys, my name is Cynthia Ricciotti, PDGA number 75029, Team Dynamic Discs, Team Whale Sacks, Team Smokin' Aces, and Team Parliament, and this is my in the bag. We'll start off with putters. I carry 5 putters. I feel like putters are like your drivers. You have a bunch of drivers that do different things, so you should have putters that do different things. We'll start off with my approach discs. First one is the Blend Slammer. I use this a lot for shorter upshots that I need to know that they're going to fade and they're going to sit hard. It's probably one of my most used upshot discs because it's so predictable and reliable in the wind and in all conditions. Next one is a Blend Deputy. I love this disc for turnover approach shots that I know will slightly turn over and then just hold that line forever. My next one is my LUCID Deputy. This disc. Paige gave it to me. Thank you, Paige. This is the longest throwing putter I've ever thrown, ever. If you pop it on a hyzer with a nice firm power grip, if you pop it on a hyzer, it'll start riding and it'll fly almost like your mid-ranges. It goes so far. Then my more overstable driving putter is the VIP Harp. I use this disc for really like long-ish approach shots that need to come on a hyzer and fade down reliably, and I use this a lot for my forehand upshots too. And then my putting putter is a medium Makana. Now this disc is not thrown a lot by a lot of people, but I feel like it is the straightest, most reliable putter I've ever thrown. I trust this disc and I've had it in my bag for 3 years now. And I know exactly what it's going to do every time, and it finds the change so often, so I love it. I guess we'll move on to mid-ranges. I carry 6 mid-ranges. Start off with my Suspect, and the Suspect for me is kind of a tweener disc. It's not really flying like a putter, and it's not flying like a mid-range. It kind of falls right in between. So when I'm like, okay, this shot is too far for a putter but too short for a mid-range, I will grab my Suspect because I know it'll travel that distance. It's fairly stable, so I rely on it for that little extra fade at the end. Let's go to a Tersis. I'm going to be throwing the Tersis a lot out here this weekend at the PDGA Junior World Championships because I know there's a lot of shots that I need to have a reliable, slow Annie. I love this disc for my long mid-range Annie shots because it'll pop it on a hyzer, fly straight, and just settle to the ground on an Annie, so it's very reliable. I carry 2 LUCID EMAC Truths. This one is more beat in. I've had this for a long time, and it's the straightest flying disc ever in my bag. I believe it. I trust this disc so much. It's probably one of the most thrown discs in my bag because it carries so far. It's beat in, so I can get a little bit of a flex out of it before it comes to the ground. So, love this disc. My next one is what I call my EMAC Truth in training. I'm trying to get it to where my other one is, but it's a little more stable, but not as stable as my Verdict coming up. I carry a team stamped LUCID Verdict, and this one has some sparkles, so it's more overstable than any Verdict I've ever thrown. I use this for mid-range shots that I need to dump. But not as hard as my Justice. Then I have my Whale Pants Justice, very situational disc. If I need something to just meat hook to the ground, I will grab my Justice because there's no way this thing is even flying straight. So I know it's going to fade to the ground real hard. Okay, let's move on to my fairway drivers. Oh gosh. Let's start off with why I have so many fairway drivers. I think fairways are probably one of the most important things you need to have in your bag, because a lot of times distance drivers don't fly as consistent. And I make sure I have very, very consistent fairway drivers in my bag, especially for the courses out here. Start out with my breakout. So the breakout in my bag is just used for long Annie shots. It's a fairly understable disc, especially for me. So I know I can pop it out on a hyzer and it's gonna ride and maybe have a tiny little flex at the end, but not so much. But I know I can trust this disc a lot. Then let's move on to my escapes. I carry 2 LUCID Air escapes. Although they're lighter, they have a lot of like the same stability as a more heavyweight one, so it takes less to get in the air and fly for me. This is my most beat one. I've had it in my bag for a while, so I know I can pop it out on a hyzer and it'll just kind of fade and have more flex than the breakout, but I know it's going to move right. My next one is my orange one, and that's the newest one to my bag. It's probably going to be used the most out here because it goes dead straight every single time. So I know I can trust it to just sit flat as it hits the ground. Then I have it's a heavier BIOFUZION escape, and if I need something that has a little more fight in the wind than my air escapes because they don't fight as well, I will grab this escape because it has that same reliable, just a hair of stability, but it'll fight the wind a little better. And then my CONVICTs. I love the CONVICT. I've had this in my bag for a really long time, obviously, because it doesn't have a Paige Pierce logo on it. It was one of the first runs, and it's kept its stability the whole time. I've had this in my bag for at least 2 years now, and I still rely on it in a headwind to go fly straight and have a little bit of a reliable fade at the end. Love, 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 love this disc. I cannot stress to you enough how much you need to throw a CONVICT. And then my newer one, I use this a lot for like those straighter ones that have a little more dump than my other one, because it's a newer one. It's a little heavier. I use this a lot for flick shots because if I accidentally pop it on a little bit of an Annie, it'll flex back for me and I won't have to worry about it so much. And then let's go to super, super duper overstable. This is the most overstable Felon I have ever thrown. It's had at least 3 owners before me. I got it used. My dad threw it. A 900-foot bomber threw it. Someone before him threw it. It's just so overstable. It's got a really, really, really concave top, metals flake in there, and LUCID. It's just so overstable and reliable. It doesn't come out of my bag a lot, but it definitely is reliable when I need something to fade hard and go farther than my Justice will. And then my super duper 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 understable, I carry a LUCID Witness. The Witness is really good for if I pop it on a hyzer, it'll flip up and almost go into a roller. So if I need something to really, really go on an anhyzer really fast, I will use the Witness. Then to my drivers. I carry 1 mold of drivers. I carry 5 LUCID Air Trespasses. These are my bread and butter. All in different stabilities and different wear and tear. Start out with my most understable one. This was the first LUCID Air Trespass I ever got. I lost it at Country Club like a year or so ago, and it was returned to me 6 months later. So it was definitely a really happy surprise that I got this disc back, and it's for my really, really super long shot. So if I want to get max distance out of a disc, I will grab this one. I know I can pop it on a hyzer, it'll come out and it'll flex, and it's just so far. If I need a step up of stability from that, I will grab my pink one. And it pretty much kind of does the same thing. If depending on the wind, it's gonna fight a little more, but I know I get big distance out of this one. My next up in stability is this one, my silver stamp one. It's probably one of the most thrown out of the 5 because it's kind of that middle stability, and it'll fight the wind, but it'll still carry tailwind, headwind, crosswind, anything. So it's probably one of my most thrown ones. Step up in stability is this one. I know I can use it for my long fading shots. If I need it to go just as far as my other ones, but I need it to have a reliable fade at the end, I will pick up this disc. And then my last one is the newest one to the bag. It's a Team Stamp Lucid Air Trespass, like a sun, almost the color of the sun. But I don't grab it a lot just because it's kind of stable, more stable than any other trespass I've ever thrown. So if I need something to hook pretty hard but still carry that distance, I will grab this one. And then I think that's it for my discs. But something that's always on the course with me are my whale sacks. Out here it is so hot and humid and my hands get sweaty. So to keep hold of my discs, I will grab my whale sacks. I carry a Page Pierce whale sack, and it's super duper like clayey and poppy and everywhere. And then I carry this one for like if I need to dry my hands off a little more without as much clay and stuff coming out of it. So yeah, always keep water super hot. Stay hydrated. It's one of the most important things you can do on the course. So always have that water with you. So yeah.